Testing. 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 Whoa. Whoa. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Hey, one sec. Let's get this muted. All right. How's it going tonight, guys? Just give everybody a little bit of time to get in here. It's just 9:30 now. Turn the music down a little bit. Not really expecting too many people to actually show up for this. They're probably gonna wait for it to go to YouTube, so I'll probably get going pretty quick. First, I'm gonna start right off with Dogecoin. Oh yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, we'll give everybody a little bit of time to get in here. Let's see here.
Sometimes my skin's...
Whoa. This way. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to get straight into it here. Dogecoin. Oh my God. First things first, like I used to specialize in risk management, and if there was a chart with a bunch of boxes that I could check off that for risk management, it would hit every single box. But everyone just says it's a shit coin, and there's rarely anybody that ever explains to people why it's not a good investment. Like, I love the fact that it's for the people, and I love the whole community behind it. Like, it's an amazing community. There's a lot of hype, a lot of people who really believe in it, but unfortunately I don't think they really realize how exactly bad this is for their money. Not only that, it's like I'm sure you guys have all played Flappy Bird or heard of Flappy Bird, but basically you have to keep tapping the screen in order to keep the fucking bird in the air, and just replace the taps with people investing, and that's the only way to keep this thing going up, because it has, let me show you here, a really, really bad dark side to it, which is Dogecoin coins generated daily. Yeah, so we're gonna go here into Reddit, just see what these guys are saying. There's a post I read about deleted 8 million coins per day. That's actually less than what I actually read earlier. But yeah, this is like, one thing is this is an abandoned project, right? Block reward 10,000. Where are you? Actually, I could just pull this up in an easy Google search. Just ask how many Dogecoins are created a day. There we go. CNBC. So every minute there's 10,000 Dogecoin generated into circulation, 15 million per day, right? And if you know how to calculate the actual value, like the only value that this thing has is the pool of money itself, right? So if I pull up my calculator and I divide 129, I'm just going to do 129 divided by 61. So let's just do that. 129. So I'm not even going to go the full amount. 129 divided by 61 billion. So I did that wrong. It's actually supposed to be 61 billion divided by 129. And then we get the 47 cents. So that said, when we're looking at that, if we add 15 million a day, right? Every single day that this isn't getting money added into it, it is going down in value, because the calculation for the value of the coin comes from dividing the market capacity from the circulating with the circulating supply. So you're going to take the $61 billion market cap and you're going to divide it by the 129 plus billion circulating supply. That gives you the value of the coin, and that's it. That's only where it comes from. Like, this thing has absolutely no utility. It's an abandoned project. You're basically just putting an anchor on your money and sending it into the ocean and saying bye-bye. But, like, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't make money, because there's like the hype and there's all the people that are currently investing. You know, you've got the puppet masters, Elon and fucking Mark Cuban, freaking trying to just make their money grow. And unfortunately, a lot of people are getting burnt from this. Like, it's already gone down a lot since that peak, and it could go back up. But the thing is, the amount of money and the amount of people that would have to put money in to get it to the dollar that everybody wants is actually insane. So how much market cap would we need? So let's pull the calculator back out here. So if you divide 61 million by 129, so basically you would need 129 billion dollars in the market capacity in order for it to hit a dollar, and that's just to catch up. Like, it has to be like 1-to-1 with the circulating supply for it to hit a dollar, which is absolutely insane. Like, that's a lot of money. The fact that it's even at 61 billion right now is actually kind of crazy. But that gets me into my next coin that I wanted to actually go over, which is the Shiba Inu coin. So let's see if it's on here. Shiba. Now, this coin I thought was a scam off the bat, right? But actually looking into it, it actually, everything that people think they're investing in Doge is essentially what the Shiba Inu coin is actually. So let's go to their website. They have a really nice website, the Shiba token. There we go. And this website is actually really well done. Like, this is an active team. They're putting together their own exchange, and this is going to be the coin that backs the exchange, which right then and there gives it actual real utility, as well as one thing I really liked about these guys. Can I find them? Oh, there we go. Oh, their click is a little off. This right here is what actually made me really happy about it. They actively are supporting dog rescue for the Shiba Inu, which is probably one of the most abused dogs, because everybody fucking wants one. Well, it's probably not the most abused dog. I think pit bulls are the most abused dog, but just people buy these to get in on the internet memes and shit like that, and I'm sure there's a lot of them that are suffering. But anyways, regardless, like, they not only are an active building company with providing utility for the coin, it's everything. They support artists. Like it's an artist incubator. Like they love to support. Their main goal basically is to become what Dogecoin was basically promising to be, and it won't be because it's abandoned. Like they actually abandoned that project. So if you're in Doge right now, you might. I don't give financial advice, but these guys actually are kind of brilliant. Like, just look at this, like the woof paper. It's not even a white paper; it's a woof paper. It's kind of cute. Yeah, I'll read that later, just to kind of actually go into it. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna invest in Doge, I think you'd be better off, and your money would go a lot further in Shiba. It's a lot newer. It's being listed by a ton of really good exchanges. So, I mean, I definitely think there's some future potential with it. That being said, if whatever you think you're investing in with your Dogecoin is essentially Shiba, you would definitely be a lot better off in Shiba swap. And that doesn't even go into this whole actually, let's see if I can access Twitter for Elon Musk. Elon Moosh, pretty much. Do I need to sign up? No, okay, we're good. As always, don't panic. Working with Doge devs to improve transaction efficiency, potentially promising. Oh god. I don't understand why he's like. It's almost like a detrimental kind of clusterfuck. He is so involved in just like the fame and fortune of all this community that it's almost self-destructive. There's so many better options out there that he could be pushing and telling that community to invest in. Other than, I'm surprised even that the Doge devs are there. I thought that this, did they repick this up? I thought Doge was abandoned. Last major software update 2 years ago, I pointed that it lacks its own miners, which is vulnerable to attack. You can get a result. Is Doge picked back up by devs? Working with devs, Forbes. Let's look at this. Yo, what's up, Bouncer? Oh, I'm just going over basically the actual technicals behind different coins right now. Can you hear me right now? I hope you can. Let's see. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, good. Yeah, I was basically just going over how basically like deadly this is to your money, and I don't understand why Elon is pushing so hard to push this coin when there's so many better coins to fucking deal with. Like, I was going over the fact that the yeah, he's a manipulator. I think he's getting lost in his fame and fortune on the internet, to be honest with you, because this isn't a good thing for him to be doing. It's like, I was going over the fact that there's 15 million Dogecoin that go into circulation every single day, which unless everyone is constantly putting money in, it's going to just continually go down. Like it's a sinking ship, and basically all you're doing is just trying to make it float when there's perfectly good boats all around you. It has absolutely no utility. Like it, and I was going over the fact that Shiba is essentially everything that Doge planned to be. It's gonna have their own. They're working on putting up their own. What do you call it? Exchange. The Shiba coin is going to be the main utility coin for the exchange. These guys prominently support artists. They also support Shiba rescue shelters, which honestly, like, that all right there is just more than Doge. They're an active developing team. Like, I'm not a fan of blockchain at all, but if I had to choose between Doge and Shiba, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I don't know why. I wonder how much he's gonna pay them to save his name. That's something I'm gonna keep my eye on, because I wonder if you watched my video about how it's from a risk management standpoint, man. Doge is a clusterfuck. Like, it's basically you're attaching an anchor to your money and sending it into the water and hoping it floats. Like, you'd be better off going to the casino. But then again, like, fate loves irony, right? So there's nothing to be said that it won't go up, but the amount of money, like, it's gonna need to hit $1, it literally has to more than double in its current let's go back to coin market cap here. It literally has to more than double in order to hit $1, which it's already got a huge market cap right now for what it is. Like, makes no sense at all. So, that being said, I think that's enough on Shiba and Doge. It's like, there's really not much to talk about. Dogecoin is like, you're worried about the Dfinity internet computer? What are you worried about it for? Like, what about it worries you? Actually, let's look at that right now. Dfinity. Oops. I think, what are they called? ICP, Internet Computer Protocol. See, circulating supply. It's got such a small circulating supply. What the fuck? Wait a second. Holy fuck. How does it have that big of a market cap? That is Dfinity. See, this right here, this is the reason why it won't work. Tokenized music that run on chain or extend Ethereum dApps. Chase the blockchain singularity. Oh my god. I have to admit, like, they did make a nice site. They have like a whole nice launch pad, but where the fuck? Let's watch this. Yeah, whatever. That is way too loud.
So talk to us about how you are envisaging a decentralized internet. What's wrong with it at the moment?
Well, I think there's lots of good things about the internet. Dfinity is working on something called the Internet Computer, which extends its functionality. So the Internet Computer can host a new breed of secure, hack-proof software systems, which addresses the security problems that we see today. And it can also host a new breed of open internet service, which can compete with big tech and solve some of the problems we're seeing emerging.
So, but is the idea here, I mean, if we sort of decentralize it, how exactly do we sort of structure it in a way where you can actually scale it up to the point where it's going to be just as useful as the internet today? Because right now I could go online, it's pretty seamless. I mean,
so the internet is created by a protocol that combines thousands of private networks. And the Internet Computer will be created by a protocol that combines thousands of data centers. So, you know, the hosting capacity.
Who's controlling those data centers, though?
Well, it's a protocol. So in the same way the internet is controlled by a protocol,
Sure.
the Internet Computer is created by a protocol. And that compares to something like Amazon Web Services, which is really the sort of proprietary closed infrastructure of a private company.
Gotcha.
You mentioned sort of taking on big tech. How do you plan to do that? Is it through cloud? And we know Amazon Web Services has a cloud product, Microsoft's Azure has a cloud product. How specifically do you sort of plan to tackle taking on big tech?
So the internet computer makes it possible to build internet services in a different way. They're called open internet services, and they're built using something called autonomous software. So nobody owns an open internet service, but it's updated by a governance, an open governance system. And they have an advantage, or will have an advantage, because...
Is that me with my internet? Shouldn't be.
They have an advantage, or will have an advantage, because...
What the fuck?
They can provide guarantees both to users and also to entrepreneurs that want to build on top of them. So today, there's something called platform risk stalking the world of tech. So an early example of this would have been, for example, Zynga. You know, Zynga's a social games company. It was very successful. It built on top of Facebook. It IPO'd. Its valuation was north of $10 billion. And then Facebook changed the rules. You know, the APIs that it had built on top of.
Yeah, fucking... Do these guys believe their own bullshit? How the fuck do they plan on scaling blockchain to the same efficiency as the internet? They can't. I actually want to see, has anybody actually used it yet? Because they've launched, right? I thought this was supposed to be some sort of fucking review. Public launch, representing jointly for blockchain and the internet ecosystem. Alright, Bouncer, no worries. I'm just gonna be looking into figuring out how the fuck these guys... like, how to access Dfinity apps. Airdrop, oh my god. Started on internet computers, network, nervous. Like, do they have... Yeah, I'll look at Telcoin next, my guy. What apps are currently on Dfinity? TikTok clone. Can. Are these guys fucking psychotic? It's so cringe. It's almost, that's almost as cringe as the fucking Genesis computer thing that they were fucking running. Oh my god. Fucking, I are like can I have that'll run in a browser, not publicly available. So how are they public with such a huge fucking... Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, where is this money coming from? So that, like, their own app isn't even available to the public. Let's see here. Can. Fucking Dfinity. Demo. Oh my god, 3 hours. Fuck that. Vessel. Yeah, I don't fucking know, guys. Like, let's look at their Twitter. Let's just take a look at this. Like, what are they saying? Like, open source internet. Now that internet computers launched, the source code of 3 primary components: live replica, node manager, and NSN. So they've got code cans. I don't understand where this money's coming from. Like, they've got so much money. Where is Dfinity market cap coming from? I don't know. Like, there's literally nothing you can see here in the top search engine. Like, who? All right, I'm gonna like back off of this one. I guess we can look at this one as what the fuck, like. Bobby, fuck off with the Doge. We already went over Doge. You missed it. But 300, like, that is a ginormous market cap for having nothing. This should make you very excited for Holochain, you would think. This is one of my biggest concerns, is like one of the, so another issue with Dogecoin is Bitcoin was supposed to be a middle finger to the bank, right? It was supposed to be a new kind of economy. It was supposed to be a step away. Like, this whole Bitcoin kind of economy was supposed to be a step away from fiat. And Doge is basically like a middle finger to crypto, which is not good. Like, so this is, if this happens, which worries me, is if, let's say it does go to $1 and Buddy with 25% or 27%, Rick and Bobby, fuck off, it goes to 27%, that guy pulls out, that, that's not it dropping 27%, because essentially all of those coins go back into circulation that he's selling, which will be a motherfucking buttload, pardon my French, because he's owned them from the very beginning. Like, I wonder if we can look at Dogecoin holders, largest holders. Yeah, 20. Oh, he owns 28, almost 29% right now. That's insane. So 36 billion. So let's just say he cashed in now. I'm going to pull my calculator out here. So we've got, where'd my calculator go? Calculator. Right now we're sitting at, like I said, we'll do the 61 market cap, subtract, what is it? Or not subtract, divided by 129. I'm just rounding it. That's 47 cents right now is what it's sitting at. People are setting off fireworks? Why the fuck are fireworks going off? Well, that is a fucking lot of fireworks. Holy fuck. Probably celebrating Dogecoin to the moon. Hilarious. All right, so let's add that to calculation. So this guy right now would be pulling $17 billion, over $17 billion out of the pool. So, and then adding 36 billion to it. So 129 plus 36 is 165. So 165. So what we'll do is we'll take 61, subtract 17, and then divide that by 160. What did I say? 160. I'll just say 160. I don't remember if it was like 164, 165, but it would drop it instantly to 27 cents. Like, he would literally take out 50% of the market right there just by pulling out. So that's the foundation that money is sitting on right now. And it's not a solid one, because he's also in competition with all of these people here. Like, there's 10 people here that own 16%, 95 people. Holy fuck. Like, these guys are extremely dangerous to your guys' money right now. And you know for a fact this isn't an exchange. Like, there's no way that that's an exchange because that was from so long ago. Yeah, because he's got an actual wallet. In 2019 is when he bought it last in. So he's actively moving the money around. Oh, that's no, it's just addresses, other addresses. I wish I could look at this address. Oh wait, that is his. That is his address. Yeah, so he's active right now. So that's kind of scary. That's a little scary. All right, so anyways, let's move on to like a real project, Holofuel. All right, so actually going with Dfinity here, like this is actually a really, really, really good example of, but it's not, because I'm really concerned about this, because where is that money coming from? I want to say that, you know, looking at what the potential price of Holofuel could be, considering the fact that they're paying this much for Dfinity when it doesn't even have any active apps, it's fucking bottlenecked by blockchain. Why, like, so Holofuel should be like worth triple it at least, but it, like, I'm not saying it won't. Like, that's actually fucking wild. Like, I think that's a scam. It's gotta be. Like, there's like these. Where was I? Oh yeah, I wanted to go to back to coin market cap, internet computer. That was them going live, and they've kind of balanced out the fact that it's gotta be like the guy. Like, can we look at the wallet? Actually, that's what we should do. We should look at the. Can we look at enter ICP? Does that work? Internet computer protocol. All right. We'll fucking just search it. ICP holder breakdown. Oh, this is gonna be fucking hard. ICP insane clown posse. Dfinity. ICP. Is there no breakdown of the holder wallets? Break. Fuck. So holders. Like, I get the whole idea. Like, we have, obviously most of us understand Dfinity and what they're kind of going after. But the fact that these guys are on the news and researching or in presenting themselves, you're the top 15 almost immediately. What do you mean you're the top 15? Like, you bought in? How much did you buy? Oh, I guess I should say top holders. How the fuck? Where did you go to see that? Like, that your position? Like, what website did you check, or does it say in your app where you're sitting? Oh, Dfinity is in the top. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I'm excited about with Holochain, though. Like, we don't have to worry about any of this because it's no longer this whole coin market cap bullshit. It's gonna actually be the asset itself that drives the value, which is incredible. So what was that one guy asking? Bouncer. He wanted me to look at Telcoin. What is Telcoin? Another ERC20 coin. What is Telcoin? There you go. Another DeFi fucking Ethereum based crypto. Or Ethereum. The leading names telecom industry like Verizon. Success with billing platforms and mobile money. Okay. So they're looking at bridging telecommunications with... How do they plan on doing that? Company before establishing telecom organizing events, 2018, Sedona, telecom fraud management services, mobile financial services. What makes Telcoin unique? The main focus of Telcoin is the remittance markets. What the fuck is a remittance market? Non-commercial transfer of money by a foreign worker. Remember, although remittance should diversify. So like what, e-commerce? With growing refugee or unregistered money coming across the borders. Oh, okay. So this is if, let's say, you went to another country and you were working in that country and you took the money you earned and you sent it to your family. That's what remittance is. Oh, for fuck off. So, is this going to be a money wash? Another one of those fucking laundering fucking coins. Well, almost 5 mobile phones to a bank account in existence. People still queue up to send money from high-cost remittance agents, with Western Union being the largest, leveraging the power of blockchain to bringing the developing world fast, low-cost alternatives to remittance services. So they're trying to be a Western Union, but with like a cryptocurrency. Why would they build it on Ethereum? That is like... Oh, that is so expensive. Okay, so I understand the incentive behind this. This is basically a coin that it's like a way to hide the money you're sending back home from the government, essentially, is what this is, so that you don't have to go through a Western Union. It's smart, and I hope it works, but what are the chances that the people doing these kind of things are able to understand and operate that? Because have you ever seen how much it costs for 1 gig of Ethereum, data on Ethereum? How much is 1 gigabyte of Ethereum worth? Yeah, $76,000 a gigabyte. It's so expensive. That's what I mean. This is where the Dfinity comes into play again. Like, how with blockchain are they planning on building an affordable fucking computer? And like, look at this. This is another thing that you should look at for Holochain, right? Like, the amount of data that they're going to be processing, but it doesn't have to be as expensive because they obviously like the low overhead of the fact that the initial security is built into the RRDHT. So it's honestly like, it doesn't have to be that expensive, but it could be, because currently Ethereum is fucking flourishing at $76,000 a gigabyte. Like, freaking, if Twitter, what is it? Fucking remind me later. How much data does Twitter use per month? Or in an hour, here we go. 700, one person uses 720 megabytes. I want to know how much fucking the entirety of Twitter uses. Let's see here if we can find it easily. Yeah, okay, 300. Okay, so here, we're going to do the math ourselves. All right, so let's bring up the calculator. It's saying there's 300 million people. And let's say the average person does 30 minutes of Twitter a day. That's not unreasonable, right? So that would be 180 megabytes. So 300 people times 180 megabytes. So you're looking at 54,000 megabytes. So 54 gigabytes a day. So 54,000. We'll put that down to 54 times. So we're just going off the fact that this is 30 minutes a day. A lot of people do a lot more. A lot of people do a lot less. So I'm just averaging it. What was that price? 76,000 gigabytes, or 76,000 per gigabyte. So every day at 30 minutes usage on average, that's a generation of $4,104,000. Yeah, that's completely undoable. But that's a lot of potential money that a company like Twitter would bring into the holochain ecosystem. Obviously, they could be a fuckload cheaper on holochain or with Holofuel on the Holo network. But that's just to give you an example of the current costs for data. Like, just let's see, enterprise server rentals. This is another thing. Like, this is what I'm showing you here is how to really kind of get a good idea of how much Holofuel potentially could be worth. We'll see server rentals for corporate IT projects. Probably a lot of these people are gonna fucking, we'll go with New York. Prices. Can we get a fucking average starting rental price? Oh, this is for actual just, this is rent a computer. I don't fucking rent a computer. I want to rent the server. What the fuck? Why is this going to rent a computer? I want to rent the server. But it probably is gonna, request a quote. How much to rent a server for corporate use in USA? So $5 a month, but businesses would spend about $40 to have adequate resources. So $50 to $300 a month, but for how much data? Is this actually going to tell me? Ah, there we go. So only 500 gigabytes on 32 gigabytes of RAM. We're looking at $90 a month from this first place. So if like this is where it's going to be up to the hosts and stuff like that with Holochain or with Holofuel, is like, are they going to be giving up per gigabyte, a day's worth of storage unlimited, a month's worth of storage unlimited, 500? Are they going to set it up like this, 500 gigabytes a month? And then how much for that? Like, if the hosts were to like agree upon, okay, we were willing to give up 500 gigabytes for one Holofuel per month, then you'd be looking at probably of a cost around $90 per Holofuel, right? Like, it's really gonna fall down on the hosts and just the environment of the requirements of what needs to be hosted. Like I said, if a place like Twitter needs adequate hosting, they're going to be putting up a lot of money in order to do that, and they're going to want it in like the easiest way possible. Like if you can say that, okay, we'll set it up that you'll only need one Holofuel per month in order to manage your finances with making sure that your hosting needs are met. Now, for Twitter, one Holofuel would be worth like $70,000 minimum, right? Like, so that's what I'm saying is there's like a whole huge, the potential of Holofuel is absolutely like crazy. Like it doesn't make sense to have the crypto based model for it to be a low value. It just doesn't. Like the microtransaction doesn't work because it's like the amount of data going by. Like let's say that we flip it and Holofuel's worth $1. How much is that dollar going to get you, right? And you've got to divide it up amongst the other, like the hosts of who you, if you're going to use the holochain ecosystem to its full potential, you'll send it in full sharded information across the network and have it sent to hosts, right? So the dollar being broken down, you could easily break that amongst the people because like, what are you going to get for $1? Like a couple kilobytes of fucking data. Like, so essentially you will then be sending like, let's say 100, like a gigabyte of data, right? And now you're looking at like $1,000 and you could easily divide the $1,000 up amongst them. But when you flip the switch, don't fucking do that with TikTok. It can get weird. But if you flip the switch and you then are like, okay, one Holofuel gets you 1 gigabyte of data amongst a bunch of hosts. Then you can see the utilization of it being able to be broken down into fractions, right? Past the 1 cent factor, right? Because it needs to go to a ton of different hosts. Therefore, that's where the one Holofuel and the whole cryptocurrency actually comes into play. The other way around doesn't make much sense because of the fact that it's just in order for Holofuel to only be worth $1 and the amount of money that data costs, it just doesn't make sense because essentially, like, I mean, you could essentially have it $1 for one Holofuel. You could, but then it's like you're kind of losing the potential that you could then offer to the client. Because like, as if I'm a big company and I want to manage my invoices, like I said, it's a lot easier to just make sure that you have that one Holofuel per month than it is to make sure that I have like $5,675 per month and make sure that it's paid out per dollar per kilobyte, right? Like it makes a lot more sense to have that Holofuel worth a lot more money so that it then can be easily managed by the companies to make sure that their data, like basically ledgered properly and more efficiently and a lot nicer. Like I said, there's no real way of telling until we get there what it's going to be worth. But things like this, like the Dfinity being worth freaking $300 plus fucking dollars, is just absolutely asinine. But yeah, so hopefully that helps with understanding just the potential of Holofuel and the future of it, in a sense of like what it could possibly be worth. I see it being worth quite a bit. I don't see the hot token really going up too much value just because its market cap, it's limited by the market cap, right? Like, so honestly, I don't even watch my charts. I don't even look at the chart at all. There's no point because I'm not investing into hot. Like, obviously my money is in hot, but the main goal for me is Holofuel. And people will literally sit there and tell you like, well, what's the point of buying hot if you're just going to switch to Holofuel? Like, why not wait for Holofuel to come out? Tell that to the people with Bitcoin, right? Like, there used to be a point in time where people would be mining Bitcoin for free. Like, it was worth nothing. It was just a fucking digit on your screen. Like you just had a wallet with freaking a number on it that wasn't worth anything. And my buddy tried to convince me on. He's like, "Oh, buddy, it's gonna be worth so much in the future. Like, just trust me. Just trust me. You gotta mine this shit. You gotta mine this shit." He even gave me a graphics card to fucking go mine it with. And I just never got around to it because I really wasn't interested, right? I was like, you know what, fuck, if it's worth anything, I'll fucking invest in it down the road, whatever. And now it's gotten to the point where, like, and this is the thing, like, they went through a lot of struggle, right? Like, and this is another kind of going into like the holding and the hodling and stuff like that, is they went through a ton of ups and downs in the market, and they still are today. I didn't have to go through any of that. I just opened my screen one day and it was like, Bitcoin's worth how fucking much? $20,000? What the fuck? Right? Like, I didn't go through all of the, you know, people going on the internet going like, oh, it's not going to go past $1 or it's not going to go past $10, blah, 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 and all that bullshit. I didn't have to suffer through it. And that's one thing with holding is if you don't pay attention to it, like, I know I've researched Holo down to the point where I'm so confident in their team and so confident in them that I know what's coming. It's going to take a long time, and the market's going to go fucking up and down and up and down and do all sorts of things as people play with fucking money and their investments. Conversely, will HOT disappear? I mean, I don't think it's going to fully disappear just because people lose wallets. You know, like, there's going to be still people that invest in it not knowing what it is. You know, people throw money at Doge. It was an abandoned project, and people like someone somewhere might hype it up and make it a meme coin, right? Like, it's hot. Like, the shit's hot. Some TikTok or can user. Oh my god, I honestly can't believe that they're calling it can. Like, that's actually fucking, oh my god. Wow. Oh my god. I just want to see them do the can. Oh! Can you do the can? Can you do the can? Oh, it's a fucking circus, just like the whole Dfinity project. Bazinga. Anyways, where the fuck was I? But anyway, like, that's why I don't think HOT's gonna maybe disappear entirely, and as well as it's gonna be, if you think about it, when the exchanges first list Holofuel, there's a good chance that HOT is the first bridge back to currency through the exchange because they have an agreement. There's already a handshake because it's the same company owns both of them, right? So essentially, like, should I talk to this person and just lead them on? No. What was I saying? Fuck, I actually just lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, right. It's going to be its first bridge through to fiat, right? I mean, essentially, and this is the kind of cool thing about with Holofuel is they are working on building an economy that perhaps one day you might not need to switch back to fiat, right? Like, when you look at things like RedGrid that are going to be built on it, these guys are going to come in and turn power grids into mesh networks. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, if you've not seen it, you should actually, I can pull it up. RedGrid IO. Like, this is one of the companies developing with the Holochain platform, and basically they will eventually, you're more than likely going to be able to pay for your power with Holofuel, right? And that gives it more asset. So not only do you get cloud hosting, cloud computing, secure fucking cloud hosting, like freaking networking, freaking just an entire internet of just an entire internet based on a mesh network for your for your fuel. You're then going to get power for your fuel. They've got farmers and like organics that are being developed, food chain supplies that are being developed with the whole holo chain ecosystem, where basically it's the same thing. It's like a mesh network where it looks at all the different cities, all the different communities, and sees who's making what and who's lacking what, and it connects and makes sure there's a steady flow and always people are always with food, water, right? Like it honestly, like we should have been dealing with civilization like this from the beginning. The only problem is like I feel like we're gonna run into a wall where people are gonna call it like communism or some shit, because there's so much kind of like it's not really in the control of the people anymore. It's in the control of a system, but it's not communism because it's not a central person controlling it. It's almost like an AI, right? Where it's basically it is managing things so that there's no more human error. There's no more food going to waste. There's no more power going to waste. It's not like they're taking and limiting your fucking power or your money and stuff like that. They're just making sure that none of it is going to waste. Like, talk about a green future. Like, we don't want someone to hold our hand, but we need someone to hold our hand. Especially with kind of like the generations growing up. They're not... How do I say this with the best? Like like my generation and basically every generation after, we kind of were spoon fed a little bit. We had our hands held. We were always told we were awesome. Participation rewards, right? Like, so when it comes to like taking responsibility for something like going green or property management or power management of grids and stuff like that, we're a little bit kind of slacking in the sense of, just like that kind of passion and desire to, and accept responsibility, accept the faults and the failures, and basically just cover it up and be like, good job. But that goes down a whole fucking other rabbit hole. The cool thing is with holochain, like I said, like the potential of if you're like you said, you're a holochain fan, which is awesome. Stumbling upon holochain at such a young part, you're so fucking ahead of the curve. Like watching it go down should make you feel good, because now you can buy more of it for not, like right now it's at the price where it's like it's almost too expensive for me to buy it, because I got in so young that like freaking 750,000 freaking tokens was like $75. It's like, and now it's like $3,500. I'm like, fuck. It's hard for me to just justify, even though it's still cheap. It's still so unbelievably cheap. I have a hard time putting up the money right now, just because I know how, like, I know what it felt like to buy it before, and it's unfortunate, but I know that once Holofuel launches and you get things like RedGrid and stuff like that on the market, it's like we will kick ourselves in the ass for not buying it at this price. Like, that's all I can say is like we definitely, like, if blockchain could do what it did, like Bitcoin, there's no fucking reason why Holofuel can't be worth so here's the thing is, it's like Bitcoin on the market, like, we will never be that high in price. We won't, because it just doesn't make any sense. This is a utility coin. Like, it actually is going to be a day-to-day purpose, right? Like, I think the reason Arthur said like the whole Holofuel $1 thing is because within its own ecosystem, one Holofuel is $1. Being that, like, when buying things within the holo ecosystem in the holo chain, it itself represents 1 unit of Holofuel, right? So, like I said, I don't see it being a 1-to-1 with the US dollar. And then another reason is it's backed by its own assets. It's not backed, like, the US dollar is, you know, like it's the petrodollar. It's backed by its own entire economy. So linking it to that would be, it would, I don't see it happening. I don't see that connection happening at all. I see it being worth a lot more just because of the fact that this has actual intrinsic value. Like it, but yeah, what's I gonna say? Fuck, Holofuel, it excites me. I can't wait for the swap. Like I can't wait for that to be over. It's gonna be tough to be on U.S. exchange. Honestly, I don't think Holofuel will be. I don't think Holofuel will be hard to get on U.S. exchanges because it is an actual asset-backed currency. It has real value. The SEC can't look at it and be like, no, this isn't a real currency. You can't fucking sell this here. I don't see it a reason why. Like, obviously, it's a threat. A little bit. Like, it is and it isn't. This is the thing. Holochain shouldn't be seen as a threat. It should be seen as a gateway to, like, revamp old projects. Like Bitcoin, Ethereum being built on Holochain fixes all of its issues. Dogecoin being built on fucking Holochain, fuck's sakes, fixes all of the issues. Well, not except for the whole 15 million going into circulation every day. That's a whole beast of its own. What else? Freaking being able to build like the power grids on it, being able to build freaking food ecosystems, property developer ecosystems, like all of these freaking little abilities to be built on Holochain just to make it better. Like we could probably the whole supply of oil for the entire world being put on Holochain would make it a lot more efficient so that the reserves are consistently balanced, right? Like there's just turning the entire world and everything that we do trade with one another into a mesh network just makes sense. Like look at your internet. Like if basically I think the easiest way to convince people it's a good thing is put them into a hotel that has all their access points not on a mesh network and try to get them to walk around using the internet, and they'll see how clusterfucked and how annoying it is and how redundant it is, and then put it on a mesh network and they'll be like, oh, this is seamless. Like I don't know, this is amazing. On the US just had an OS. I know that's the other thing too, is it's like not only is it able to organize and efficiently distribute the products, it's so secure. Like it's so like no one will be able to tell what is going where because it's all going to be completely encrypted within the network. Like it would probably take Neuralink and someone linking themselves into the Holochain ecosystem in order to be able to understand exactly how our DHT actually works. That said, going into like secure data and security, like another thing that I'm not sure if you've seen this, I posted about it before, but EarnX is another token I've been watching. Let's look at that. EarnX. And it's cool. This is awesome. There's so many things now about it. When I first discovered EarnX, it was like fucking day 8 of it existing, and there was nothing about it anywhere. But I just loved the way the logo looked, and I wanted to find out more about it. And yeah, I discovered this fucking gem. It's essentially the way this works is. And it's really funny because they kind of seem like a rug pull, and what they sell is rugs, really beautiful Persian rugs, I might add. So this is their first rug that they've just created, and apparently CZ Binance is going to be buying one of these. But essentially they put RFID chips in the rugs, and they turn the rug itself into an NFT. So that on its own form, you know, it's cool, it's nice. But where I see this coming into value is when you look at like high-end purses, high-end clothes, high-end just like, you know, like a Prada purse or a Gucci bag. putting an NFT onto it not only makes it unstealable, it actually can add so much value to it. You could essentially turn it into a walking bank, like your purse into a walking bank account, and just scan it up against like a fucking like payport or something like that in the future, right? Like it's no different than the chip that's in your debit card. So basically it would make it unstealable because the only reason it has its value is the NFT chip that's inside of it, or the RFID chip that's inside of it. And then on top of that, if someone tries to steal it and sell it, it'll instantly be tracked because the NFT is completely traceable, right? So no one would want to steal them anymore because they couldn't sell them. And then if they pull the RFID chip out, the purse loses its value, right? So essentially, I think that there's a huge potential for this real world NFT database. And I'm hoping EarnX says, like, I think it was Prada that's actually looking into this as well. Prada NFT purse. I wish I would have saved it. There was a site I read it upon. It was like a news thing that popped up for me, and essentially it said Prada was looking to put RFID chips in their purses to track them. Like that's actually a huge thing, right? Supply chain management is huge. And I know that I think it's ADA or something like that's already kind of doing that with like factories and shit like that. But I was talking more about like these, like just like the or like a one-off bag, right? Like more niche kind of artistic hype bags, or even just like the whole manufacturing line of like a Prada bag, like it's linked to you, like that's you, or VeChain, that's the one VeChain. Yeah. But imagine that, like I think that would be amazing. Just like you, no more fucking thieves stealing your purse because they're not fucking worth anything, right? That's why I'm kind of excited with like this whole company. Is they're young, they're ambitious, the community is actually solid. They're in the red today, and there was no FUD. Everyone was chill. Everyone was just talking, having a good time, like still talking. My biggest concern with them is they're really love to shill. Like they're obsessed with shilling, which obviously as a holo person, not really for that, but to each their own. They want to hype it up. I get it. It's their investment. It is what it is. As well as like, so their whole ideology, this is what kind of made me think it was a little bit of a rug pull at first, was the fact that they have a huge market cap, or a huge circulating supply. And Shiba, or not Shiba, SafeMoon, I guess, is doing the same thing, which is why, like, I don't even want to talk about SafeMoon. That shit's just, like, but essentially 10% is burned for every transaction, 5% goes to holders, 5% goes to a burn address, liquidity's locked. It seems like very much like one of those things that's just like in it for like the quick dollar. But then I looked and they actually have like a real team. They're really building towards something. They've actually got full roadmaps. They've actually got like, you see, it's so, that's another one where it's just that things like SafeMoon and Doge are destroying, what is there, like Moonlips and like fucking all these like all these DeFi tokens coming out that are just literally like hold and get rewarded, airdrops, burn, fucking blah blah blah, and literally no utility, no nothing. It's just a pool of fucking money. They're basically just money washes. That's all they are. Which, I mean, like, and the hardest thing for me is like, I know that I could make money if I put money into it, but I just can't help myself to put money into it, because you then become an active cog in that machine, right? You are propelling that machine by investing in it, and you're not gaining any money in a good way. I know a lot of people don't give a shit. They don't care. They just want their money to come to them. And they don't really care how they get it. teach their own, right? Like, I sleep really, really sound at night knowing that I don't fucking scam anyone and no one's getting burnt on my account. That's why another reason why I don't do chart reading. I don't do the whole predictions and stuff like that. Like, oh, I could do freaking, let's go trading view. Fucking every single chart reader ever. What is it? Okay, here's my chart, and we can see that there's some resistance right there, some support right here, and I'm just going to draw a line, squiggy, back to the resistance, and then, whoa, nice little check mark swoosh. Hell yeah, it's going up, boys. And that's every chart reading ever. It's just do. And I've already done another video on reading charts for Holo. It's fucking, I love it. Like, I get so many people sending me charts and I just never respond to them. Like, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to say anything bad to them, but it's like, to me, it's just like, and it's just that it's someone drew a line like that. And it's just like, okay. Like, oh, what do you think of this chart reading? What do you think of these? I mean, and that's another thing. Time is, like, anything that's gonna happen will happen and is going to happen. Essentially, Holofuel will come out one day. It's going to happen. We cannot predict the day, but there will be a day that it does fucking happen. Yeah, they moved it up on the roadmap. They did, which is, I don't understand why people aren't getting more hyped about that. They've also, no AMA. That's a good question. I think that they're really, really working on the whole elemental chat rollout right now. I've got access to it. I haven't used it yet, but I do have access to it. They're doing a soft rollout of the elemental chat for public users, which honestly should make you excited as an investor, because that means someday soon they're going to finally hit that threshold where they're going to open it up to everybody, and then it's going to be in the news. There's going to be people talking about it, and then you're going to see that huge spike on the chart. And but once again, it really, like, regardless of everything before Holofuel, I'm not really worried about it. So the only real benefit to hot going up in value is that when hosts are going to sell their Holofuel to hot while they're hosting in the beginning, if they decide to, I personally wouldn't, that they will get more money for their value for their hosting. That's the only reason I want hot to go up, right? Like, it's it would be really nice to the hosts that have been sitting there and giving up all of their power and all of their time. Like, they're not really doing anything. They plugged it in, but they paid a lot of money to plug it in. And like Holo said, that they won't open up the nodes until Holo port owners make back at least what they paid for their Holo ports. So you can imagine that there's a plan in place that they will be compensated quite well for what they do. That being said, like, it just comes down to the fact that, like, pre-Holofuel doesn't matter. Just accumulate coins. That's all you can do. And then after Holofuel, and Holofuel's listed on the exchanges, and then give it a few years for the ecosystem to build, and you're probably sitting on a really fucking handsome number, if you decide to switch back to fiat, or if the economy's built to the point where, yeah. So during the swap, Holo port owners can take Holofuel that they've earned through hosting and swap it back into hot in order to then cash out, right? So essentially they're compensated in hot for the swap. But once the swap is over and they're separated, they would then have to go through the reserve or the exchange in order to sell their Holofuel, which I think they would probably want to wait for, because once the reserve is fully filled, like activated, and they're able to sell to the reserve instead of swapping it back to hot, they will probably be a lot better off. Yeah. So I think that's a thing that a lot of people are having an issue understanding, is like, they're like, well, if hot's the same value as Holofuel, then why not just wait for Holofuel and then buy Holofuel and blah, blah, blah. essentially, yes, Holofuel. So, regardless of what they could potentially sell it for in the reserve during the swap, the only way they're getting fiat during the swap is by exchanging it back out of the reserve into hot. So, yes, technically one Holofuel is worth one hot during the swap. Even if, but that's the thing, is like if they look at the reserve and what, I'm not sure if they'll be able to see what they could potentially cash out for. I don't know. It's that'll be something that we kind of learn as it happens, and if you're a host. But essentially, once, like I said, the swap is over, hot is back in by itself, Holofuel is in its own ecosystem. Yeah, exactly. Hot will have to be worth it for hosts. Like if hot isn't worth enough for hosts to swap back, then they're not bringing the money back over, right? They're just going to keep holding on to it, wait for the break in the link, and wait for it to go in value either in the reserve or on the exchange. So that's the other thing, is the exchange versus the reserve. Hosts are really going to have a huge role in the cost and the price of things. And it's like, sorry, get some water here. Obviously, the exchange will never, like, you could never sell your Holofuel for more at the exchange than the reserve. Let me see if I got this right. Because basically it's going to be like a teeter-totter on the way up. The reserve is going to get so crowded that the value is going to be ridiculous to buy, that the exchange is so much cheaper. And then you're going to have a whole bunch of people wanting to buy off the exchange because it's in a lower value, that it's going to drive the price up over top of the reserve. And then eventually they're going to be like, oh shit, the reserve's cheaper, buy from the reserve. And then it's going to be like that. It's going to be like a staircase, right? Like the two are kind of going to climb on each other. Another problem with this, or not problem, another factor with this is the fact that people have to want to sell their Holofuel, right? So if it's going to kind of be like, Holofuel is going to work more like a stock, in the sense that someone has to be wanting to buy it in order to sell it on the exchange, and vice versa. So you're going to have to sell it for less than the reserve in order for someone to want to buy it from you. And then essentially, yeah, so it's going to have to be that way. And eventually, like I said, the hosts will eventually sell out the reserve to the point that they can make more money on the exchange, switch over to the exchange, and then it'll keep balancing itself out. Like it's going to be a huge kind of like teeter-totter effect. It will go up in value as it increases in value. As more people want it, obviously there's going to be an increase in demand, and we know how supply and demand works, right? Like, in the fact that people have to want to sell. So it'll be kind of cool. You could probably look at the buy orders in the thing and be like, oh, I'd be willing to sell my Holofuel for that amount. All right, so here, put a sell order in for that amount. And then the exchange would then be like, okay, there we go. The sell order equal to the buy order, swap, boom, done. This guy gets fiat, this guy gets Holofuel, tomato, right? Or ping, bang, boom, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Another thing is, like, I've actually, like, done a lot of thinking about how the exchanges will handle that, because obviously Holofuel is an application on the Holo network. So how exactly will you get your fiat money to buy, to like back into your bank account, right? No, it won't have a market cap or supply. It has a supply of net zero, because essentially the only way Holofuel can exist is if someone buys it through the reserve, right? So you put, let's just, for simplicity, one person puts $1 into the reserve, gets one Holofuel. Then that person gives that Holofuel to a host. That host cashes out. Now there's no Holofuel in circulation, and there's no money in circulation. Boom, 0, 0, 0. So every Holofuel is going to have an accounted amount of money to it, and where it gains its and that's why like the whole ledger system within the network and watching the holofuel move around will always have accountability. Like every holofuel will always have the value behind it from the reserve. So that's why I said like you can't just buy coins, like you can't just buy holofuel off the exchange with like a circulating supply, because there is no circulating supply. You have to convince somebody to give up their holofuel for cheaper than the reserve in order to then buy it from the exchange. And then that holofuel was already paid for through the reserve and has now been sold to somebody else, but it still is that same holofuel that holds that value from the reserve in the beginning. That said, I think that what you'll have to do eventually is link your holofuel wallet to your exchange wallet, and then essentially when you sell to the exchange, so essentially HOT will have value until holofuel is reserved through fiat. So not exactly. So when we when we swap our HOT to holofuel during the swap, we are basically giving the HOT to Holo, and it will then create a reserve of HOT within the reserve. But essentially that HOT will then become technically fiat. So I guess let's look at this, because like that's actually a really good question. Once the swap is over and the reserve only has HOT funding it, is mainnet another internet company? I'll look at it after this. We're just gonna finish up this holofuel session first, and then I'll check out mainnet. But technically, if mainnet's another blockchain, then I can tell you right now, essentially they're gonna run through bottlenecks. It's not gonna likely work, and it'll eventually just become another coin that gets inflated and deflated as people move their money around, more than likely. But I will look into it. Oh, mainnet, Holo network. Got you. What about it? What about mainnet? We were kind of just going over all of it and the all of the different features of it that are going to be coming out. What the fuck was that? Oh, Jesus Christ! They're needing it off there. When we look at things like RedGrid.io, when you're going to have things like RedGrid.io and like food markets and stuff like that running on mainnet, you've got your cloud computing, your cloud hosting. Finish your thought on last question. Right. Yeah, so yeah, oh yeah, hot in the reserve. I'm wondering exactly how, because eventually when the same way that hot funds the reserve in the beginning, fiat will then fund the reserve, or any other coins will fund the reserve when the exchange is put into play. Like essentially, like let's say I buy $100 worth of Holofuel right from the reserve. We have just started a reserve account in Canadian dollars because I'm Canadian. But you're right. So if they try to sell their, because if hot goes down in value, then the reserve, that's actually a really good question. Because yeah, like let's say once the hot gets broken off and separated and hot tanks in value, then the amount of money that was initially instilled in the reserve completely changes. So I'm curious as to if they sell their hot and then create a USD reserve, or like several different reserves with the money accumulated of hot that they have in the reserve. That's actually a really good question. I'm gonna ask about that the next time I'm fucking talking with them. Really good question. That actually never even, because hot in, it has a set value when we transfer it over. And then basically all points of contact at that point are valued off of the fact of what hot's worth. But then if hot goes down, yeah, that's a really good question. I'm guessing that either they will be able to just cash out for the current hot price or have to hold on to it and wait for another reserve to build up for equivalent to what their what do you call it, their credits worth. Well, that's the thing, right? They said that basically their notion was hot was going to be the first base of the reserve. So do they sell it? Yeah, it would. I honestly like. That kind of sounds like a detrimental thing that they have to overcome. Because you're right. If they do keep it linked to hot until the other reserves are built, then that whole credit base needs hot in order to keep its value for the first little bit. But why would anybody want to invest in hot if Holofuel is on the exchange? Huh. What a plot twist. Yeah, they're gonna have to fucking figure something out with that. I'm sure they already have. Like, I'm sure that they've probably, like, got a system in place already to deal with that. I just wish they would tell us what it is already. Because you're right. You're absolutely right. That does create quite the fucking conundrum. I mean, post-hot era, that really doesn't become an issue anymore. I mean, okay, so here we go. So essentially, I think how it's going to be is once they break off through the reserve and it gets linked through the exchange, essentially, if you decide to cash out through the hot reserve, you're just going to be basically susceptible to the, or basically exposed to the current hot market, which probably won't be too great. Depending on how many people swap over and what the circulating supply is like at that point. If everybody swapped over and knocked down that circulating supply, and then but then why would people buy hot after that? Because that's the thing with that's the big thing too with the whole hot going over to during the swap, is it brings that dollar value with it, right? How are they going to fucking manage that? Because sure, like, let's say one hot's $1, it goes into the reserve, and they now have a $1 within the reserve for that Holofuel. But then hot drops on the market. Actually, no. Because that Holofuel will be issued at $1, and if they go to try to cash it out, then they would have to give them, like, say, 3 hot to make up for that dollar that Holofuel was worth. Maybe that's how they'll do it. But that just sounds like it's going to accumulate a bunch of debt right off the bat, unless hot does go up. But like we keep saying, we keep circling back to, I don't see once post swap era it maintaining its value. But then no, I don't think hot will always be worth more, and that's the biggest issue here. It's essentially okay, so maybe what will happen is okay. All right, so riddle me this. Okay. Hot $1 goes into the exchange, gets given as a holofuel, gets then spent on hosting, but now hot's only worth 50 cents. So perhaps maybe now this person is then credited 2 hot tokens, but where would they would have to just give up a hot token, because then what, they generate a hot token out of thin air? No. Oh, friend, what have you done? What have you done? That's actually a fucking incredible problem. I can't wait to have this conversation with them. Is there any solution that you thought of by chance? Oh, where's the music go? Get that going again. Man. If they burn the reserve of hot after fiat to fuel. Yeah, the only way I can see it, but that would really fuck a lot of people over. They're not burning. They're temporarily taking the token out of circulation. So what I'm thinking, do they just sell the hot, but then take that token out of circulation, put the fiat in the reserve, and then if you want to then change your holofuel, because it'd be 1-to-1 during the swap, so you'll only get 1 hot token per holofuel. That's got to be the way they do it. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way it is. It's going to be essentially they're going to take the token, sell it, put that money into the reserve, take that token off the market, and then essentially when you sell your holofuel back to hot during the swap, you would then be accepting the current rate for that 1 token. And then that way, if it's worth less, then they actually get a surplus in the reserve. Yeah, I mean, I think we just solved it. I think we did it. Sounds like a lot of here's the big thing though. For them, I'm wondering who is going to be in charge of accepting the I should know this term. The fees. What the fuck are those fees called? Why can I not think of that word right now? Every fee that when you transfer, like mine on ETH, Ethereum or blockchain, gas fees. How did I forget that name? Who's going to be responsible for the gas fees when we swap? That's one of my questions. Are they going to eat that cost? Because basically they're going to have to eat the cost when the swap happens, plus but that's, how would they do that? Because you're responsible when transferring tokens to pay the network fees, and usually it takes it out of. So will they compensate for that? That's something I think we need to ask as well, is the transaction fees for swapping from hot to Holofuel. Because those can be pretty fucking deadly, especially on an ERC20 token. Maybe they're waiting for Ethereum 2.0 to come out before they go to live. Yeah, but you've got to sell it. You've got to give it to them from your exchange, right? Like, you've got to send it to them. And there's always that network fee. Like, it'd be no different than you sending it to a wallet. So next problem here. I mean, that could get pretty pricey too, because usually it's a percentage, and let's say that at the time of the swap, Holofuel is worth a butt fuckload of money and they want 10%. You could end up losing like fucking couple grand right off the top. And for them to eat that fee for everybody would be kind of yeah, that would be expensive. That would be a really expensive thing for them to take on. So I definitely can see why some people are a little hesitant, but still, at the point it is right now, we're still so early that, swap fee or not, still in the plus. Still way in the plus. Huh. Yeah, that's definitely another question I'm going to ask at the next AMA, or I might even go and hit them up for a personal one-on-one. Speaking of one-on-ones, Kazuna, I've got a 1-on-2. I'm meeting up with 2 of their developers on Sunday evening. I'm going to get a first-hand look at everything that they're going to be doing and presenting, and that'll be what my next podcast stream thingy is going to be about. Maybe I can get a demo going. But yeah, is there any other questions anybody has? All right, Russian Unicorn, is he still here? It doesn't look like he's still here. Poor guy. Poor guy. Do you think of any questions that people are asking a lot in Telegram or anything like that that they might have? I know this is getting kind of long. I don't know if anybody's going to sit through an hour and 51 minutes on YouTube. Oh, you're bad. What do you mean? I've enjoyed actually getting to communicate with somebody. That's what I was hoping for. Because you brought up a very good question, and I'm glad we were actually able to resolve that. And it's nice to actually see the thought process and be a part of the thought process, I think, rather than me just scribble it on a board. Dfinity versus Holo. There is no Dfinity versus Holo. It's like, I went over that in the beginning. It's like, Dfinity is blockchain. It's completely bottlenecked. It's expensive. There's absolutely no fucking way that they're going to be able to provide what Holo can provide. Like, it's not. It's like a go-kart versus a Ferrari. A very expensive go-kart versus a Ferrari. A very cheap Ferrari. It would be like, I guess the best way to like look at it is like, imagine the go-kart had the price tag of the Ferrari and the Ferrari had the price tag of a go-kart. Which one would you probably try? Like, they're not even, I can't believe, like, and the audacity of them to be going on the news and stuff like that and pushing their product when they really don't have anything yet. Like, sure, their token went live, but we just found out that they have nothing. They've got some fucking TikTok freaking meme bullshit that's not even out yet. Depends if Mario's driving the go-kart. Facts. Facts. But to be fair, I don't think the Ferrari will be affected by banana peels. Just my 10 cents. You gotta watch out for banana peels on the road. They're dangerous. Yeah. Alright, guys. It's 11 o'clock p.m. I think that we've covered quite a lot in this segment. So, if there's no further questions, I'll be saying sayonara and hollow love to all you. And I hope you guys have a great night. Did you get everything you wanted answered, Peterson? If you have any other questions, now's your chance, man. Before I head out into the ether. Beautiful. All right, buddy. Really appreciate the input, the questions, the talk. Really enjoyed it, buddy. You have yourself a wonderful night. And anybody else kind of sitting on the sidelines watching, y'all have a wonderful night as well. Hollow love, y'all, fam.